the desire to become a dyslexia therapist. So that is a rigorous program. It is 700 clinical hours and 220 classroom hours. You do have a 1-year option to be a practitioner instead of a therapist, but I'm a therapist. And that is what we do for our teachers that are teaching reading. Anyone that is teaching reading at our school has to start that program and finish either a year to 2 years, depending on the situation. So the people that are teaching these small group instruction groups are going to be dyslexia experts. We also train any other teachers that are not teaching reading. They're very much trained in dyslexia as well. Good. Okay, that's all. Do you have any questions? Thank you so much.
Anybody have any questions?
The schools that you already have, what's the success rate at them?
So we are getting ready to publish that data as well. So what we do at the school is we have two things. We have to take the student, whatever the grade they come in, first, second, third, fifth. So the higher the grade, obviously, the further behind they are. But there is the acquisition of reading skills, and you have to start at the bottom, and that is necessary. So that's what we do in the small groups that Jenny described. Plus, we give them the content, the state standard content. But the reason the schools exist is to give those kids those acquisition skills, and that's what we measure. We will be publishing that paper, which shows that the children acquire that so that they can become fluent readers.
So once they reach, participate in the program, do they move as they go from first to second, the skills keep building?
Correct. So the reading acquisition skills are greatest in the first and second grade, but they're limited to first through fifth grade. So where you read at the end of fifth grade, whatever percentile your fluency is, and that's what's most important, that's the percentile you'll read for the rest of your life. So if you're in the 5th percentile, you'll be in that when you're an adult. If you're illiterate, you'll be illiterate when you're an adult. If you're a proficient reader at the end of 5th grade, you will be that as an adult.
How would it affect the kids that are already behind? Reading skills are poor. Will this program assist them in building reading skills and go ahead?
Well, if they come to the school, we have a small window the later we get them, because if you think about it, if you come in the 4th grade and we've got to the end of 5th grade, we have to do as much as we can. It's not ideal, but it's better than not trying to do that. And the other important thing is it gives them their self-esteem, because as I mentioned, they're all average to above average IQ. But they feel that they're not smart because they don't understand why they're struggling in school.
So once y'all select a student and decide that they meet the criteria to become enrolled in the Louisiana Key Academy, dyslexia is number one, correct? That's the number one criteria for them to come to school there, right?
Correct. They have to be dyslexic.
Okay. When you talk about the children that are above average or high IQ, are you going to take children that are below average IQ and dyslexic also?
Dyslexia is, the definition in state and federal law is an unexpected difficulty, which is based on an average IQ. So a child with a below average IQ has a reading disability, but that is a global brain phenomena. Dyslexia is an isolated in an otherwise normal brain, so their IQ is average to above average.
Gotcha.
Who provides the evaluations to determine whether a kid is dyslexic or not?
We test the children for free because we understand that most can't come and to a psychologist and afford, so we do that for free. We will most likely be located, we're in discussions with the Catholic Church here, their facility. We had spoken about the STEM building. We understood it's not available. So we are proceeding with that, and we look forward to our opening in August.
How far does the program? I know it goes probably, what, first to high?
In our other cities, it goes through 8th grade.
Well, that sounds good.
Is this the
Sure
first?
hit this, or?
Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
You can't play the game.
Is this the first pod y'all done, or are there other pods?
No, this is the first pod. It is, and that's a good question. It's under the Shreveport School, and Jenny is the director.
Right. So how did you pick Lincoln Parish to come to and not Webster or Bienville or any of those, or Bossier, any between here and there?
Jenny, because she is a certified academic language therapist, which is the model rests on that. And we tried to recruit her to Shreveport, and she didn't want to do that. And it's a lovely town, and you've got this jewel here, and so it's again a small program, but we hope to help kids that would like to come to our pod.
And we know the need is everywhere. As far as if it's 20% of the population, we know there's dyslexics struggling here too. And I know just because I'm a therapist, I get those calls from parents. So we knew there were kids that needed help. Just, they're everywhere. Because I'm here and I've kind of helped some other people that are really, have an interest in kids that are struggling, and I've kind of recruited them to be in the program as well. They may or may not work for the school eventually, but they're therapists. So we just knew there was a need.
And if it's a type 2, that means you're not strictly to Lincoln Parish students, correct? Like you can take students from other parishes as well? Is that right?
So you're looking at going to just grade, 5th grade here? Is that the grades, you said
Well,
from third,
for this year, it's 3rd through 5th.
3rd through 5th? Okay. This is very impressive, the research that was conducted, the direct correlation with the incarcerated men and women compared to their reading abilities. This is very interesting.
Y'all have a minimum of students that you're, that you have to enroll for this to get off the ground?
Well, we're in the process of enrolling now, and we'll just, go from there.
But is there a chance that if you didn't get to that number, that you wouldn't take off? I guess that's.
I think anything's possible. I think it's just letting people know that we exist, and we'll have we're having a lunch and learn on Friday at the library at 12:30 in working with the pediatricians, which is what we usually do in cities, and get the word out.
So the lunch and learn is a presentation?
Yeah, it will
Okay.
go into much more depth about what dyslexia is.
Okay.
So that people can understand what it is and what are best practices.
If for some reason you weren't able to get off the ground this year, whatever, I mean, I'm not putting out negative anything about it. My question is, has there been any thought or consideration to, instead of a standalone school, trying to find a way to collaborate with our educators and our professionals in our school system to, whether or not that's a contract position with Jenny or some of your other teachers or some of your other professionals, and how, I mean, have y'all considered that at any of your other schools? I know if it's the first pod, I'm just trying to see if there's any flexibility in how you guys are gonna operate.
Yeah, no, I've had conversations with multiple superintendents, and we've worked with one superintendent in the state, but there's always ways to partner. It's a big commitment, because it is a commitment of trained teachers for 2 years. It is changing the delivery instruction through the day, but we're absolutely open to partnering with any parish or anyone that's interested. We can't take care of all the dyslexics. We are, again, for those that are failing, they've either failed a grade, failed a class, and it's for those with severe and moderate to dyslexia.
So a child that has found a way through 3rd and 4th grade would not be considered for the program?
If they're reading on grade level and yeah, you know, and they just need accommodations, that's not what we're about. We're about those that, and, you know, that would be valid testing of their reading fluency. But absolutely, that's what we're here for.
And you are open to partnerships?
Absolutely.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank y'all.
Great presentation.
Thank you, Jenny, and thank you, Ms. Cassidy. Appreciate that. All right. Next item on the agenda is to discuss the 2025 COSBA National Conference update from Dr. Danielle Williams.
So I had the privilege of attending the COSBA conference in Atlanta. The theme was bridging the gaps and breaking barriers. And it kind of, that was the main focus on meeting the needs of all students. So they broke down as far as looking at and discuss the student achievement equals test scores, student success equals whole student. They talked a lot about strategic plans, and having strategic plans allows boards to survive and survive changes. They discussed without one, it can cause chaos. And so with the strategic plan, the first step, they discussed assembling the district leadership team and school board working hand in hand to support the mission of the community. I learned that that the Louisiana School Board Association leaders work hand in hand with the Georgia School Board Association. And so I actually attended a session with the leaders for the Louisiana School Board Association, but they collaborate a lot. And so they also have there's a data management, board management system called Assembly, that the School Board Association Louisiana, actually the Georgia School Board Association was the one who developed Assembly. And so it helps boards as far as everyday tasks, from paperless meetings to strategic planning to policy management to board evaluations and communication. And so that was a very interesting system that they were pushing. They talked about the areas of decline with goals as far as student achievement, operational efficiency, staff learnings, stakeholder engagement, and culture and climate. They invited keynote speakers, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.'s daughter, Bernice King was a keynote speaker, among others, and Muhammad Ali as well. His daughter, Layla Ali, was, they focused heavily on school transformation, and we're living in a time which we know that in our state, our students are expected to score proficiency, and grow every year. So, they talked about various wraparound services and things. One of the recommendations that they stated in the meetings is that 50% of school board meetings should focus on student outcomes. So they said in reviewing your agendas, just make sure that those, it's discuss student achievement. And that's all I have.
We had the opportunity to attend the Louisiana School Board Association meeting in Lake Charles, and we had the pleasure to listen to the same presentation. And they are moving from, they're making it more, superintendent or anybody that's instructional more accountable for student achievement. So when you do that strategic plan, it has to be geared around student achievement. And I think that's a good one. You can measure that, but right now, it's a joke. Somebody needs to be held accountable for the instructional needs of these kids. And I think we ought to set the guidelines and the credibility that we need to do. I think the meeting was good. Mr. Hancock was there. Greg was there, and they heard the same presentation I heard. And I didn't even know we had a strategic plan because I've never read one to see where we wanted to go. So it should be presented to each school board member to know that, hey, this is what we must do to move this system forward. But like I said, somebody needs to be held accountable.
Thank you.
And so, in saying that, where you talked about the goals and knowing, Chairman Junior, do you mind if we review the symbol that Louisiana School Board Association is recommending to review that software to see exactly what all the features and things that they are discussing before we pass the next budget next year?
Well, that's a good point, Dr. Williams. What I'd like to have this board consider is we have possibly, and the president, you weigh in, superintendent, we have a committee chaired by Hunter Smith, long-range planning, whether we would incorporate that as part of that objective, which could be, or it could be the executive committee. But the pleasure of the board is that certainly, given where we are and where we're trying to go, my own opinion, working with our superintendent, our president, you, of course, as vice president, Mr. Ferguson is right on point. It's outcomes. If we are to become the #1 school district in the state, then what does that entail? So the board, in my opinion, should weigh in, and of course with the faculties or our teachers. But that is something that would be of the purview of the board. How do we deliver those points that Mr. Ferguson alluded to with the superintendent and the president? That's my thought on how to move that forward, Ms. President.
Yeah, just off the cuff, I would think long-range planning would be a good place for that to look at as far as taking that into consideration for any long-range plan that we would want to work with, and then talk to, of course, the finance committee on all of that. So working with the superintendent, we can certainly take that into consideration, absolutely, by the long-range planning committee to take a look at that. So great information on that. Anything else? If not, we'll move on to personnel. Dr. Lewis?
For personnel, I'd like to report 4 administrative points of reference, 4 faculty resignations, 2 child nutrition resignations, 1 maintenance retirement, 1 maintenance termination, 1 maintenance recommendation, and 1 transportation termination.
Thank you for that information. All right, Ms. Duke, let's go over your financials here.
Okay, for the sales tax collections for the month of March, we have collections of about 5.4% higher than March of last year. Overall, for the year, total collections year to date are approximately 7% higher than the previous year at this point in time. Also, total collections are about 80% of this fiscal year compared to what we collected in the 23-24 fiscal year. For our monthly financials for February, we have in our general fund, total revenues budgeted, we have received approximately 71, right at 72% of total revenues for the year. Total expenditures in the general funds combined, we have expended approximately 58.7% of expenditures. In our special revenue funds, we have collected approximately 76% of budgeted revenues and spent approximately 64% of budgeted expenditures. Overall, our our fund balances for the general fund, we are at approximately $47.3 million. Again, we have for the month of February collected the lion's share at this point of our annual property tax collections, which usually happens in January and February of each year. Total undesignated fund balance at this point in time is approximately 57.8%. For our health insurance fund, for the month of February, total contributions and interest earned is approximately 1.48% million compared, I'm sorry, for the month of February, total plan expenses is at 1.46 million, which leaves a net change, a positive net change in assets for the month of February of about $15,000. Total contributions for the year to the plan, it's a calendar year plan, so this is the second month. Reporting is right at $3 million. That's approximately $557,000 more than contributions that we've made to the plan compared to this time last year. Total plan expenses are right at $3 million, which is approximately $240,000 more than plan expenses at this time last year. Total for the year accumulated, positive net change in assets of about $47,000.
Thank you. That looked way better than last year. Thank you for that. Okay, Mr. Durrett?
Your enrollment update is in your packets there. A little above 90% at our school, at all of our schools there.
All right. Any other comments?
Just that we are beginning leak testing. Appreciate Dr. Hearn, who's in charge of all that, and all of our test coordinators at our schools. That will continue through about the end of the first week of May or a little longer. Get everything going with that. Finished up ACT testing and that, so we're in testing season. And then we did take bids on the shooter project, and Man Construction got that and came in slightly under bid. So looking forward to getting that started in the next month.
Excellent. Excellent. You should find in your packet a couple pieces of information you need to be aware of, and that's the sheet about information requested by auditors as far as businesses that you own or participate with the district. There's related party certification document, as well as the Tier 3 disclosure statement that's due by May 15th every year, so please make sure you take care of that. Anything else on the agenda we need to deal with?
Mr. President?
Yes.
One observation here. The superintendent had alluded to this previously regarding Dr. Williams, but I just wanted to sort of revisit that momentarily. Dr. Williams received as a certified board member from our Louisiana School Board Association, certified by Dr. Janet Pope, executive director there. That's an outstanding accomplishment. It puts certainly our board, this community, in a great light, and hopefully other board members will maybe comment here today or possibly to her personally. But this is a big deal, and it certainly brings notoriety on a positive way to our school district. And she should be, in my opinion, recognized for going that extra mile, beyond the normal 6 hours that we do. This is over and above. The superintendent brought this to us before, but I thought we should revisit that and hopefully have board members express, if they desire to, and congratulate her on this achievement.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any board members want to recognize that? It's a big deal, taking all those hours.
Yes.
How many hours did you get? 20 hours. That's a lot. So thank you for your professionalism on that.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir, for bringing that to our attention. Okay, anything else? If not, I'll take a motion, we adjourn. So moved. So moved. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.